Today I'm going to start installing the light fixtures on the barn. And these are just sets that I bought at Home Depot, $60 a pair. I thought they looked pretty decent for the price. Little Hampton Bay carriage lights looking, you know, a little antique looking, that's fine. I already pulled the main box out of here, but I'll show you what's in there. It comes out as a tray. I already pulled the plastic off this, and I already screwed an LED bulb in there getting ready. They always come, this is pretty typical, it's got its ground wire attached, and it's pretty typical they come with a bag of mounting hardware, which we're going to need. Unfortunately there's no 632s here, are there? No. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to get some 632s to put in here. And they did, oh wait a minute, are those 632s or are those 10s? Or 8s? Oh, it's hard to tell. No, I think those are 6s. Okay, I got the 6s to put them into the boxes, I think. I probably won't be able to use all these wire nuts because I have more wires in the box than just the 2 conductors to the light. Of course, these just have the hot and the ground here. The neutral is white, the hot is black. This little plate will mount on the box like so. And these 2 acorn nuts will be what attaches your fixture as you tighten them down and snug it down to the thing. I will go around the top and sides of this with a around the fixture up here with a little bit of silicone around the top, so water runs in, it'll run past, it won't run into the electrical box. Let's go up and see what this looks like. I've got you up as high as I can get you, but I got to turn my ladder around here so I'm not in your way. Let's see what we got in here. Well, this box only has 1 set of wires, so this is going to be pretty typical. I need to put a ground screw in the back of the box. I need to see if these are 632 screws. Usually an octagon box comes with 832s, but those are 832s. So what I'm going to have to do is find some 632s in an old switch or something. So I've got those. I've got old receptacles and switches. I saved the 632s just for this instance. So let me go get those, get my pouch, and we'll get working. Alright, I'm going to raise you up here so you can look into this box. Now, if you look at the 2 holes in the back, one above the other, the lower one has threads in it. That is your ground screw hole. And that, according to code now, you have to put a green ground bonding screw in there. Even though it's like an 832 or a 1032, whatever, you still have to put a damn green one. So, code being code, that's what we're doing. So, when I was looking for 632 screws, I also found ground screws in the bottom of my box. So, actually, it's best just to run your bare wire behind that first, and then it's easier to get it in there. See if I get a straight screwdriver here. I do. These are a little hard because they're in the back of the box, but if you hold it against the tip of your screwdriver with your finger, she'll go right in. We got that one easy. And wrap your ground wire coming into the box around it. Tighten her up. Now, these are dead. I know they're dead because it isn't even connected yet. So we got our fixture. It's got a long ground wire on it. Now this won't need a crimp. We're just going to use one of the little orange wire nuts they left us. And I'm just going to leave it long because it just makes it easy. So slide your spiraled wire on this solid wire all the way to the tip. Now if I was going to do this the way we used to wrap the wire around the stranded wire, leave a portion of the solid wire sticking out and fold that over and squeeze it with our pliers. I didn't do that. I'm going to strip these a little farther. Probably doesn't make any difference in the world, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm stripping these to about 1 inch. And I'm going to twist them first. Spiral them around the wire. You want them to go around at least 2 times, if not 3. Take your little plastic wire knot. Now, I wouldn't do... This would be a good place to use those Wago clip-on wire connectors. They probably would be more suitable for this location. Again, twist your wire. And then twist it like a spiral right around to the tip of the solid wire. And these connectors are literally just held on by friction. And what you want to do is give them a good tug. Give them a good tug. They're fine. Okay, so now we want to get our mounting strip on here. As I said, I had to go get 632s. Dig them out of the bottom of my spare box over here. They're out of old receptacles, but that's all right. Now this should ground the strap, but there's also a stupid ground screw in the strap. This one's got some pain in it. Because these can't get tightened down super tight anyway because they're against plastic here. I don't want to suck this plastic way in deep either, unfortunately. Now I won't be able to test this fixture until I finish the rest of them. So these have little acorn nuts on them. And a rubber gasket. So I'm going to pull the rubber gasket and put that on the outside. This also has a ground screw, so I'm just going to wrap this stranded part of the leads for this around it. It's Phillips in this case. There's a ground and everything that has a ground screw. Alright. Of course, you drop these little acorn nuts, you'll never find them, so be careful. So we shouldn't need any more tools. We just turn this guy so he's kind of horizontal. We're going to stuff lead wires back inside the box. Which is kind of tough because there's not a lot of room on either side. You can use the tip of your screwdriver, I'll accept that. Roll him right up like Z-bend. Do whatever you gotta do. Get him back in there. trying to avoid pinching wires. Alright, I see both of my nuts. Pardon me. Did you say that out loud? Little acorn nuts go on these ends of these 6. Now I think these might be 8s, I'm not sure. Screw fell through, I gotta bring it out farther. And there it goes, but I see it. Ain't this fun? I gotta come out here and pick up all the nails that I dropped too, as much as I can find. Well, I've lost the other little rubber washer. It went to hell and back. So, I guess that's the way it is. Sometimes you might need a pair of needle nose or something to tighten these up a little bit. Helps if you start the end with the hole in it. I think these nuts are just plastic too, so creepy, ladybug-ish looking thing. That's all there is to it. I'll turn this. I guess those are metal. There we go. Now when I put the caulking around it, it will help make it tight. Keep from twisting. And I like the way that looks sitting on that plaque, that back plaque behind it. Alright. Some of the other boxes have a little bit more complicated wiring in it. Because some of these boxes, for the other lights, have 2-3 wires coming in. And it's pretty simple because the red is the switch leg and the black is the one feeding through. So on this one, the 2 reds go together, the 2 whites together, 2 blacks go together. Easy enough. All right, let's see what we can do with this one. I'll get the box prepared first. Again, as I said, these guys have both the switch leg and the hot conductor, because the hot's coming through these fixtures from another location over on the right side of the door here. So, well, that's kind of creepy. I don't know why this won't screw in. There we go. They ain't going anywhere anyway, are they? I should have stripped these when I brought them in, but I didn't. I don't like to leave a lot of ragged insulation inside the box. Just a thing of mine. So I like to get in there and cut it off as short as I can. Now I'm just scoring the top of this wire. I don't think I'm cutting through it until I get to the last couple inches. Then I bear down so I can get it started, and then it'll unzip just like that. Don't get your eyes poked. Alright. Now this one's going to require a ground screw. So I'm going to do that first. There's clips and stuff you can use too, but I just like the screws. And we're going to do what we did on the other box. We're going to push the ground wire right down beside the ground screw hole to start with, so it's out of the way, so it's already in there, I should say. The trick is, that I've learned over the years, take your screw, put it on the end of your screwdriver, and then hold it against it with your index finger and work it all the way into that little hole. Alrighty, I got back. I got my wire nuts and all that stuff. That's a crappy screwdriver. I'm throwing him aside. Alright, so the black goes straight through because that's just the power feed from, it has to come over to this switch, but I decided to route it through all the boxes. Not a necessarily conventional way to do things, but convention enough. And shove him way in the back, out of the way. There we go. So here's our switch leg wires. And these are 14ths. So now we get the next fixture. I'm using 100-watt equivalent lamps in these bulbs, and it's what I use on the front carriage lights of the house, and they do really light up the area well. So I'm not worried about that a boot. Let me get a couple of 632 screws out of here. That'll work. The 832s are so they can go onto an octagon box. That's why you will find those. in. Friction wrap these guys. Dude, I think I'm going to attach these and shove them back in. Lesson learned from the other fixture is because it was so tight to get around there with the wire nuts that I'm going to now the way I do this, when I got two solid wires and one stranded, I'll wrap one stranded around one of the solids, then I'll put this other solid in there with it. Alright, and these we shouldn't have to twist, because putting the wire nut on twists them. Nice tug, nothing's loose. Wrap one around the other. Bring the other next to it. Alright. That is approved technique for code, anyway. All right. Now, you don't want to tighten up one side more than the other. For the reason that that little arm kind of sits there like a teeter-totter. As you pull one side in, it's going to pull the screw out. It's going to make the other side retreat in, so you kind of got to do these together. What do you think? I think they're kind of cute. We're gonna fire these up today because what I need to do is I need to finish this one. And I will go inside. I'm gonna do the same thing here other than there's only one hot wire coming in. So you don't want to see this again. When we get done, I'll show you how to do the switches and get this thing running. Okay, I'll try to show you my best here. This has already been stripped. This is the light wire that goes right to this fixture outside the door. So we know that's just going to be a switch. I'm going to split this wire here just gently. These wires are so much cheaper than they used to be back in the 70s when I was an electrician. Oh my gosh, they were so much thicker. Jackets and insulation, and they've just cheapified everything. Alright, careful not to slice your wires. Alright, we're going to get these grounds. Now these grounds go to the top of the switches. So pull them together. Give them a good twist. Twist them up a few times, good. And I shall put a crimp on that. find it easier to put the crimp inside the crimp tool. Give her a good solid squeeze. That's going to go near the top, so I'm just going to arc it back up in the top right now. So what do we need? The neutral needs to go straight through the fixture because the switch does not need a neutral. So we shall put these two guys together. Push that guy back out of the way. Okay, that's light fixture. This is the hot. This is the returning back to the porch lights. So this is the hot coming in. We need to have two switches hooked up to that. Well, what I'm going to do, I always like to put the hot on the bottom of the switch. So I'm going to do an old electrician's trick here. That's the hot coming in. I'm just going to strip a section of the wire. Oh, come on. Thought I snipped you. Always wrap your wire around the way the screw turns so it tightens as you twist it. My specialty Klein screwdriver here. Alright. Now these are wrap type screws. Some of them have clamps, this one does not. So you have to wrap the wire around the screw on these, just that's the way it is. So we're making a hook in this one. Again, I like to put hots on the bottom, feed out the top. I don't think there's any code that says you have to do it that way. Squeeze your wire tight. Use your specialty tool. I've done this a couple of times in my life, can you tell? We could have done the same thing with the ground. We could have just left one long. And I might do that. I'm going to snip that one shorter ground wire off. Okay, so this first switch, I want to be the outside lights. I don't know why I undid that. And this is the switch going out to the other light. Oops. So this is a very, 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 very simple box to make up. Wrap that ground wire around. Most receptacles and switches now use these wires that are screws, I mean, that have the slot for the special. Did you know that's a wire bender, that hole in your strippers? So you put the wire in the hole and go whoop, whoop. You put it on there. These are very good tools. They got like needle nose almost on the end of them here. Nice and snug, but don't, break it off or nothing. I'm just kind of a needle nose kind of guy, so. Hook it on, bend it around. Hook it around, pinch it around. Now I'm gonna have to tape these guys up, because they're going to be hanging out of the box hot here. And we don't want anybody getting bit. Which is going to be difficult because the dang screws in here. I think I'm going to pull the screws right out and eventually end up screwing these guys into the box. This is going to be on OSB, so hopefully I cut my boxes close enough that these will land on top and it'll position itself. So I'm leaving the ears on the switches. These ears can be broken off. The next thing I need to do is go over and make up the switch box that is over by the, or not the switch box, the receptacle box. It is over by the garage door opener up high. I'll put 3 wraps. It long on the back side here. Just wrap it around this side. Don't put too much pressure on it, or else again it'll stretch itself off. There's 3. Push up the other side just a little bit. Sharp knife, swish. All right. This box is all warped because of something. The wood that it's on is not straight. I might have to rearrange this a little bit. Again, Z-bend, Z-white. Oh. Your wires. These are only 14s, so it makes it a lot easier. Now this magic screwdriver should fit in there. I'm just going to put them in a couple threads each. I knock my screws off, of course. good. Just tag it in there a little bit. There's the other. Okay, this is just for my outside lights now. I just want to be able to put them on at night and say, oh, ain't that pretty. All right. Cool, eh? All right, that's it for them. Okay, the next thing I need to do is make up this electrical box, but it's about 8 feet high. And it's just 2 whites in, 2 blacks out, in and out, ground wires. So I'm just going to put a receptacle up there. You don't really need to see me do that. All right, I have my outside lights hung and the circuit powered up. I got to go inside to reach the switch. I have my 3-way switches all in. 1, 2, and 3 should be the front, middle, back, off, come over here. I want the first row on, second row, third row. All right. One hint I can say about 3-way switches: if you're compulsive like myself, you want the lights to be off when the switches are in the down position on both positions or all positions. What you need to do is switch your travelers at each end. So on this end I put the black on the left and the red traveler on the right. And on that end, I put the red on the left and the black traveler on the right. I got thinking about it because you got to think about how these switches work. There's one screw in, and the switch selects either that output or that output. Same thing at the other end. So say the power's coming in at the other end on that one common screw, and your switch is set so it's selecting the right screw. That wire travels over to the right screw on the other switch. If the switch is set so it selects that screw, the light will be on. So no matter which one of the 2 switches you move, it will go out. Now you can turn them on and off. Going off may actually be pushing the switch downward, which in most on-off switches, down is off, but that's not true with a 3-way switch. So that's all there is to that. I put some temporary wire. I hooked up to my wiring that I got going up there. So basically to test it and to get some more light in here, we're going to be doing insulation and sheathing next week. So that's on the walls. And so once I get the insulation and sheathing on the walls all done, then I got to get a crew together here to help me put the ceiling up, and then it's going to be pretty much done. The only thing I need to do is put some framing up in here for hanging my furnace, which actually came. So I've got my furnace and chimney too. All right, we're coming right along. Pretty soon I will be moving all this construction equipment out, and the toolboxes and benches will be coming in, and I will have a shop, a heated shop. The lift supplier company out of Buffalo said they stock the lifts and they can pretty much come on a beck and call. So hopefully when I call them and ask them to come put it in, they'll be available within a day or two. But we'll see how that works out. All right, guys and gals, that's it for now. Little wiring done today. Fixtures up outside. Made up all these boxes. They look like they had so many wires in there that I just wanted to get them done. All right, take care, God bless. All right. As you can hear, it's raining like a banshee out there. But I wanted to show you one thing. According to code now, I talked about this before, we used to run 2 circuits and one piece of 12-3 wire. We used the neutral as common for the two circuits, and we had the red and the black phase, and as long as you ran the red and the black phase on the separate phases of the breaker panel, you could do that because they balance the load. Now, recently they have eliminated doing that. So there is a new 4-conductor 12-gauge wire out that I ran to my outlets around the perimeter here. And there are two neutrals in there. There's a neutral with a red stripe, which I use for the red wire, which I put all my red ones on the right. And then there's just a plain white neutral that I use with the black conductor. So I kept them separate all the way around. There's my ground fault breakers up here to protect the circuits. So I've got my, red and white on the right, and my black and white on the left, all the way around. Now I've got these already in for all my outlets around the perimeter. I have two circuits of 12 gauge. Other than that, I really, you've seen me put outlets in before. If you want a tutorial on how to pigtail receptacles, you can see I've got the two whites with the red stripe on them together. I've got the two plain whites together. They're coming out to the blacks. The two blacks are pigtailed together, and the two reds are pigtailed together with a pigtail wire coming out to go to the receptacles, because you can't use the receptacles to daisy chain through the circuits anymore. All right, that's the way I believe it anyway. Our inspectors like to see it there. I just wanted to explain that to you. We're almost done here. I'm getting cleaned up. As you can see, I promised I'd show you cleaning up. And I've got just a few things to get out of here. I need to get that file cabinet that I'm going to weld. I guess I could just roll that to the side, so I don't have to take it out in the rain and the mud. But I got to keep this room over here wide open. I've got to be able to have room to roll out my bubble pack stuff here for the ceiling. As you can see, I put a strip up already. So that's what's coming next. And then I will be able to have all 6 lights up in here. Now it's plenty bright with 3, so it's going to be really bright with 6. I've also got 4 4-foot daisy chainable LED lights, twin tubes, to go down underneath this eave over the top of the benches for my bench lights. And I may even get some more and put them after my lift is in. My lift is in. I just talked to him today. He said the center of the lift will be about 12 feet back. So that's where I'm going to bring that yellow wire up there. Needs to come back 1 stud. And I think actually I'll bring it out onto this stud right out here somewhere, onto this truss. So I'll have extra slack and just set my box temporarily. And I'm going to put the wires into the boxes up here temporarily. We'll do it when we get up there putting it up. But yeah, pretty soon we'll have heat in here. The furnace is going over there. I've got my stainless steel flexible gas line to run. I don't need to run a circuit for that. And the only other hard work is I got to put the flue together and go out through the wall there. So that's it. But yeah, I like this OSB. It was a great idea for the walls. There's some cracks, but I don't think there's that much air infiltration through the cracks. The walls feel warm to me. I'm not worried about it. I like it. If I ever want to paint it, I can. But I don't know that I ever will. It's a shop. It's a car shop. Do I need to paint it? I got my stem wall done, of course. So that's going to be the only hard part, is when we get down to the last piece of ceiling, I'm going to have to cut about 6 inches off it, I think. And I'm going to have to flop my insulation up and over, and if it reaches, then we'll just flop it. If worst case, I'll have to put the bubble up, put the steel up, and then I'm going to cut holes through up here anyway into the attic of the other barn, so I've got access at each end. And I'll climb out and I'll toss my insulation, and then what I'll do is I'll throw the insulation up there so I don't have to drag it up there with me. All right, so I figure we can get this done in a couple of days. Yeah, 2 guys. I might have my wife here to assist. It'd be nice if I had 2 other guys to help move the the steel around, but you get what you get, right? All right, guys, that's it on the outlets. We'll show you a test when I'm done. I'm getting ready to put these outlets in, but I got something going on over here. There's a, looks like a tractor trailer flatbed out on the road outside the house there. I don't know what he's doing. That's just a road with no houses on it that goes along a cornfield to the north side of my building. It's the road that goes in front of my house. It takes a curve out there, but I don't know what they're doing. Can't quite make it out. Anyway, hey, I wasn't going to show you this, but let's do it. There's my box. This is a little bit different application, isn't it? I'm trying to keep, oh, there's a lot. The rain's cut back, so it isn't quite so loud in here. That's good. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to strip each one of these about a 1/2 inch. Now I'm lucky, these are the receptacles that have like the clamps that hold the wires, so you don't have to wrap them around a screw. That is so much easier. And I have my Klein 731 special tip screwdriver that's got like a square drive in the middle that's 90 degrees, 90 degrees? No, 45 degrees off axis with a screwdriver tip, which is the same kind of screws that are in your outlets. And I'll tell you, they really give you a great bite, so I recommend them highly. I'm going to bend these wires back out of the way because I don't want to get jabbed. So again, the first thing you do, green screw, get your ground, your bare ground wire. Your ground wires have to be crimped or wire nutted together in the box. What I did is, because I got 2 wires, I just brought them together, twisted them, put a crimp sleeve on it, and then left the 2 ends out so I didn't have to make another bug connection. I just twisted the wires together and then put a crimper on them, so they've got continuity together. Okay, and I'm tightening that green screw. Now, did you notice I put my needle nose around that wire and crimped it tight, so even if it loosens up, it can't fall off. And now, I'll show you on the black side, but there's a plate on these outlets that you have to flick out there to get the wire down behind it. You can goof up sometimes and miss that plate, and I think the wire would catch fine underneath just the screw head, but the plate gives you a little extra grip on it. Alright. OSHA approved, NEC approved, National Electric Code approved. Get it behind that plate. See that little plate? You tap on it and it'll wiggle out for you. And I always, even though it doesn't really matter, I always put it under the side that's going to want to torque it around the screw. With the plate, yeah, I know it don't matter, but it's just me being nitpicky. Alright, put some bends in your wires so they got flexibility. Push her back in, get her started. And this screwdriver also does the receptacle screws, so it covers all the screws on the receptacle. And it gives you a really, really good bite. I like to put these in by hand. I know a lot of guys in the commercial trades, they'll put them in with a electric driver and all that. But then you got to carry that electric driver around. Drag it around with you everywhere you go. I can put a extra screwdriver in my pouch and be good to go. And you got to keep bending those wires because they want to twist your outlet. Now I just try to center the screw up in the groove in the top of the outlet. And hold it still so I can tighten the bottom down. Alright. You want to leave a little bit of flex on one end of the outlet so that when you put your cover plate on, you can, it'll kind of self-center a little bit. All right, what else? One more and we'll be done. Tutorial is done for today. Here you do have to hook the ground wire though, because it doesn't have the plate. You have to hook around, close it up like that. It does use the same screwdriver, however. And I've been doing this a long time, kiddos. It's kind of like an old habit that's hard to break, I guess. I'm a little hungry. I don't know if we're going to get a pizza for dinner or something like that. I don't know. The boss lady's got an immense quilting machine, so any friends out there that know who I am personally, I know some of your wives are quilters and sewers and such. Might want to get a hold of her because she's got a machine that's 10 foot friggin' long that has one of those CNC robotic controlled quilting machine, sewing machine things on top that zips back and forth and does all the fancy stitching. Holy crap. Oh, holy crap. Alright, so get this guy pushed back in. Boy, you gotta cut these box holes tight. They do not give you much. These ears aren't big enough on these outlets if you ask me, because boy, you gotta be close. I mean, nearly exactly the same size as the box. Now these are what they call self-grounding outlets. If they were to be in a metal box and you ran metal conduit, we just had a big discussion on YouTube about this. A guy was putting outlets in a basement in just conduit, no ground wires. Well, I was told to never do that, but apparently according to code, it's okay. But to me, if the conduit corrodes, the connectors get loose, you're relying on that bonding screw in the panel to bond the whole system. Yeah, I'd rather just run a green ground wire inside your conduit and tie everything together that way, but that's just me. Okay, I gotta inch this over a little bit. There we go. And these are really, really cheap cover plates because they're all cracking. They sound like popcorn. But as the saying goes, it is what it is these days. Super cheapy. It allows, the ears are allowing my outlets to sink farther back in the wall than the cover plate has leeway for. Okay, those guys are in. All I really need to do is push these guys back in. I had them pulled out to put the wall board on. These are my GFCIs. AFL-CIOs, I don't know what the frick they are. There's so many different. They got art faults and Banana Republic faults. And let me put that right there so I can see better. I don't have my reading glasses on. So I'm kind of doing this by semi-blur, but I know I've done this so many thousands of times that it's kind of like second nature. And I do have these guys taped up so they won't touch the ground wires or touch together. Yeah, Christmas is over, but we'll probably have our tree up until New Year's Day and maybe longer. Depends on how she lasts. You know, we cut a fresh tree every year and they're expensive these days. You want to get the mileage out of them, you know. And they're beautiful. Oh, come on, get in there. I tried to use the more expensive kind of fiberglass outlet boxes for these in the walls here. I wanted them to be tough. Just center it up on the screws and hopefully the diameter of the at least I'm getting a good bite on the bottom here. And I'm just looking between them to see what the gap looks like. This guy's kind of bouncing out here a little bit. Come on! They want to walk when you turn the screws. If the screw rubs against the side of the slot, it makes it twist. Trying to twist it. All right, so this guy has a special cover because they don't have center holes because of all the test buttons. So they have 4 screws instead of 2. And they're regular slotted, so now I do have to get my slotted screwdriver out. These little babies one by one. But they look pretty good. I think I got them pretty square. I'm going to go to opposite corners here. Don't tighten them too much because you'll crack them. These guys I think are resting on the wood on both sides, so I think we're good to go that way. It cracked a little bit, so I'm going to back off. I like to put my slots straight up and down. All right, we're done. I'm going to go throw the breakers on. Okay, here's the receptacles. Now, I've got my little tester here, and it should light up if I got, well, these guys haven't been reset. Some of them won't reset. I can't see which one says test and which one says reset. I think reset's the top one. Yep, see the green light come on? And now, see how that goes in the slot? But if you put it in the neutral one, it doesn't. That shows you what side's hot. Nothing down here. See, green, green. But the narrow slot is always the hot one. So let's check the rest. Nothing. 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 Okay. Got to walk around the scaffold. I'm not going to check the other one in the middle, just because I don't want to walk back behind the scaffold. And actually to test if I have a ground, a neutral, this should light now. See the 120 glow? 120. All right. We got power all around the shop. Every outlet is hot. We're getting the clean. I got just a little bit more cleaning to do, and then I'm going to call it a night. Go eat some leftover turkey. We had a turkey, of course, for Christmas dinner, as many people do. And get this table out of the way. Gotta get this table out of the way. I gotta get that insulation picked up in this board, and that's it. I'm gonna sweep a little bit. All right.